Welcome to another World of Tanks replay. My name is Maxwell and this one is from the user DRC Moose, and he's driving the AMX 1390 on a standard battle on Miravanka AMX 1390 T8 light tank for the French. This one can be a little bit difficult to get used to if you're moving up from the AMX 1375. It's just because of the length of time between the reloads. AMX 1375 has a fairly good reload speed on its autoloader, whereas the AMX 1390 you really have to plan in advance what you're going to do between gun reloads, as this thing takes a long time. As you see, it's been 41 seconds there for that reload for DRC Moose, so really long time between reloads compared to the AMX 1375, so that can throw a lot of people off. The tank does still have great speed maneuverability, although its acceleration can leave a little bit to be desired, but when it gets up to top speed it does do well. Gun as well, also fairly strong. You see it has, if we just get that up there, 170 penetration, 240 average damage, and it does have 6 shells in the container, so it's able to kick out a hell of a lot of damage if it's able to unload all 6 of those shells. But with it being a light tank, having a low hit point pool and terrible armor, generally you'll only get a chance to unload 2, possibly 3 of those shells before you need to get the hell out of there, because not just the refilling the canister reload is a lot higher than the AMX 1375. The time between shells as well can also throw you off a little bit. So Moose just up on the hill at the moment, trying to get some eyes on some enemy tanks. There's a few light tanks making moves in the centre there. You can see he's got an M41 Bulldog in his sights, and there's been an AMX 1390 sort of roaming around the area, having a couple of speculative shots, but nothing really landing. So deciding just to hit the C key and reload that gun. Just think about dropping back and having a look over towards this IS-3, but he's getting absolutely pummeled by everybody else now. He's probably not going to be long for this world. DRC just sitting very patiently, so we'll reload this, speed this one up until his gun is reloaded. Staying in position here, as you can see, there's still an AMX 1390 in the centre. That guy and the M41 Bulldog had decided to relocate, then DRC could make a move up this left-hand flank. Nobody really showing themselves, so decides that now is the time to make that move. There we go, he spots out the M41 Bulldog. So instead of being in the centre, he's now transitioned to this left-hand side, so it's time for DRC Moose to do the same thing. It's no good overlooking the centre of the map when there's nobody there to look at. Finds the IS-6, but only got the very top of his turret. He's going to have a hard time hitting that. Just backs down the hill a little bit to take a slightly different approach. Just playing very carefully, but it looks like the enemy team has concentrated most of their forces in the forest on the right-hand flank. So DRC attempting to flank around this IS-6, but just keeping an eye out. There is 3 artillery pieces on the map. So with only the IS-6 on this flank, DRC is going to make a move and try and find some of this artillery. I would think that probably only one, possibly none of them are on this flank, but then I stand corrected. The idiocy of artillery players knows no bounds. Personally, I would not be planning. There's another one. I would not be putting my artillery piece on this flank, considering that all of our forces are on the right-hand flank. And we have nobody on the left-hand flank here to defend me. Oh, 1 hit point left. What a shame there. But yep, there's no way I would have had my artillery piece planted over here with only an IS-6 in front of me to defend me. Gonna see if he can get his last shell fired at this IS-6 before he has to reload. Does, but that one bounces because, you know, IS-6. So now it's time to reload that gun and relocate. Unfortunately, the only real threat at the moment is this IS-6, so there isn't really much repositioning that he can do. He just kind of has to wait patiently for his gun to reload and to see if this IS-6 is still alive. Looks like he is getting a little bit pummeled now. He falls. The other artillery pieces also on this flank, all 3 of them in a compromising position. He's had his shot and he knows he's forward. He's got to know there's nobody here to defend him. He's fired his shot. There's an AMX 1390 cresting the hill. It's going to be curtains, and if DRC can pick this up, this will be a fantastic Pascucci's medal for him. One more shot should be enough, and there we go. Kill number 4. That should be a Pascucci's medal as he gets all 3 artillery pieces. As you can see, the AMX 12T dueling with the Bulldog at the moment. DRC Moose going to try and come in and equalise this one. 12T making a run for it. Looks like he's still got a shell in the container as he's kind of poking back, threatening to go for it. The 12T did have a shot, but Moose just snaps that one away for 3 damage for kill number 5. Now it's time to reload that cannon. And like I was talking about, now the Allied artillery is exposed. They've lost the flank hard on the right-hand side, and they could be sweeping in along the K and J line, but it looks like a lot of them have transitioned to the top here to defend the base. The T-32, IS-8 and T-54 have all made moves back. So this is now time for DRC Moose to get the hell out of Dodge. Even if those guys hadn't appeared there, DRC Moose should still have made this move, as he needed to come back to defend the artillery from a push that would have been coming in from the J and the K line after the enemy team won the right-hand flank. As it is, it served a dual purpose to drop back, defend his artillery, and reposition away from the guys coming in from the north. Going to retake an earlier position, but then the base capture siren goes off. Somebody is making moves through the base. It's probably defended from the north. Finds a Panther 2. Just having a quick look to the left to make sure there's nobody there. Uses auto aim as he needs to worry about manoeuvring around this Panther 2. Gets 2 good shots to take him out. There's a KB-13 in the very far south, and somebody else, can't quite make out who that is. Possibly the AMX 1390, as the rest of the guys have all been spotted up north. Going to now go for this T-32. Don't want to risk hitting him in the turret, so going to wait until he gets alongside and to the rear. T-32 gets some great damage into the side of DRC Moose. You see, this thing doesn't pull too great up a hill, but once it gets rolling, it is very, very quick. Just thinking about that one. Had to play it carefully, as that was his last shell. And he had to take out the T-32, or else he'd have a very difficult time trying to maneuver himself out of there and get away. As it is, though, he did take him out. Now he's going to swing around for this IS-8 repositioning. Luckily, the T-54's fallen. He's got to be careful about this AMX 1390. In fact, last time we saw him, he only has 29 hit points, actually. So you can imagine that AMX 1390 probably playing it very, very carefully. You can see him in the south there. His gun reloads just in time as he appears for this IS-8. And that was what I was talking about, using the time between reloads to relocate, reposition, and get to the place where you need to be. As he comes over the hill for the IS-8, his gun was exactly reloaded. Takes him out for kill number 8, a well-deserved Radley Walters medal. If he doesn't pick up these last 2 kills, if he does pick up the last 2 kills, his Radley Walters goes bye-bye, and he gets himself an awesome Golden Pools medal. Being chased down now by the KV-13. KV-13 doing the smart thing of chasing him down because he knows that he won't have any shells left in his container. KV-13 got 800 hit points anyway. And DRC Moose just doing what he can to use the buildings as cover, keeping as many buildings between himself and the KV-13 as possible, whilst retreating, and that's something you definitely need to be mindful of, making sure that you've got cover between yourself and the guy that's chasing you while you are getting the hell out of there. And if you just run across an open field, there's nothing to stop the enemy from just stopping, zooming in, and taking you out. But DRC hasn't got plans to just flee for the rest of the battle. He turns himself around once his gun is reloaded, gets himself into a good hiding spot with these bushes here, and awaits the KV-13's approach. Now, I'm not the one to talk about XVM stats too much, but it looks like the KV-13 player is a little bit inexperienced. So you would have expected him to follow the AMX 1390, but what tends to happen when these inexperienced players are left in a situation like this is what they tend to do is just beeline for the cap circle and start a base capture. So it was pretty much a 50-50 toss-up there, whether the KV-13 continued to chase the 1390 or whether he turned tail and made a beeline for the cap circle. It looks like he's not chasing the 1390, as DRC Moose wasn't able to light him up as he came back across the field there, so I would say it's a 90% chance that he has started a base capture. or he will start a base capture any moment now. 1390, you can expect. Oh, there he is there. He's up on the hill trying to spot. DRC Moose finds him. He just needs one good shot to take out the 1390, but doesn't want to risk himself. That 1390 is in a good position where only his turret can be seen. It's going to be hard to return fire on him. The enemy 1390 is a good player as well. Still confused where this KV-13 is. I would have expected a bit. There it is. I was going to say I would have expected the base capture to have started by now, but there it is. And with the 1390 only been on 29 hit points, I can imagine what he'll do is he'll head to K or J1, sit there and cover the cap circle while the KV-13 caps. The KV-13 should spot out the 1390 as he makes his approach, and then the enemy 1390 can hopefully get some damage on him. And DRC Moose cutting a wide berth here, keeping lots of terrain between himself and the cap circle, because he probably understands exactly what's happening as well, that this 1390 is going to be covering the cap circle while the KV-13 does the capturing. He's going to play this one very, very carefully. He's the last one left on his team, which means he can't really afford to make mistakes. Comes up towards the cap circle. Still can't see the KV-13. Got a very good stealth skill there. Very good camo skill. DRC realises that he's way too much in the open, so thinks about backing off, but he needs to take out this KV-13. There he is. Finds him. Starts to back off whilst firing. KV-13 starts spinning his gun around. Tries to get himself into as much cover as possible. Takes a hit, but it doesn't seem to do any damage. The AMX 1390 from the enemy hasn't opened fire just yet. Although that shot that hit the bushes may have been him. Oh, there we go. Shell lands just in front of him. Fantastic bit of luck there from DRC Moose. He's got 2 shells left in the container. It will be enough to take out both tanks, but to be honest, his best bet is probably just to come around the side here, take out the KV-13, then do a reload. Can't quite see the KV-13. He's not hidden properly. Going to spend all the time he needs to let his gun close in, and that is kill number 9. Not going to risk just 1 shell in the container to take on this 1390. Because let's face it, if he screws things up, he's got 40 seconds to wait. Whilst the enemy 1390 will be able to pummel him into submission. So now the choice becomes how to assault this AMX 1390. My thought would be that he would stay in K and J1, so DRC Moose is pretty much just going to have to get onto the 1 line and then charge down to try and take him out. Because he can afford to take 3 hits. Oh! The enemy 1390 is in the centre. He's around the other side of the church. DRC Moose has got him dead to rights here. There's no way he's going to get away. That is it. That is the win. So absolutely excellent game played there by DRC Moose. Picking himself up over 4,000 points of damage, 10 kills. A really, really well played game there. An absolute pile of medals. So awesome game played there by you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, send that into replay@screenreality.com. You can find that in the description or on screen right about now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Maxwell. It's been a World of Tanks replay, and I'll catch you guys next time.